With the recent rains that we've had this spring, now's a good time to assess your soil for compaction. Joining us now is Jason Warren, our soil management specialist. And Jason, why now this year?
Well, a lot of times people will ask me about compaction, and they generally wait until the summertime because particularly wheat farmers are off. You know, they're not busy harvesting or planting or managing the crop. They're just trying to get ready for the following crop. And the summertime is probably one of your worst times because our soils tend to be dry. But now that we've had all this nice rain in a lot of the state, and then hopefully we'll continue to get some nice rains throughout the rest of the spring, our soils will be well suited to assess compaction. Because when we look at compaction, we don't want to look at dry, hard soils. We want to look at our moist soils and see if, when under moist conditions, is that compaction sufficient to limit root growth. And so when we look at compaction, we can visually observe, horizontal layers or horizontal root growth, or we can use something like this as a penetrometer, or even, this is a $200 deal. You could just have a pointed steel rod with a T-handle on it and make your own penetrometer and kind of feel around for dense layers in the soil. But anytime you do any kind of penetration resistance is what they call this, we certainly want to do it when the soil is wet, because as soon as this hits the ground, just like anybody knows from digging post holes or any kind of hole, dry soil is hard and roots aren't going to go through it regardless. So we want to do it when the soil is wet like it is today here in Stillwater.
Okay, you kind of dug a little hole here and did a test. What kind of things did you find with this particular soil that we know has gotten lots of rain lately?
Well, first thing we do is we can push it down, and when you're doing, whether you're using a steel rod or a penetrometer like this, you want to slowly push it down and slowly push it down until you start to see resistance. And essentially, the resistance of a soil is more where it stops to move downward. You look at the reading and you can keep pushing it. And we want to, on a penetrometer, if the penetration resistance is greater than 300 psi, then we can limit root growth. And what I find is about, I can get penetration resistance there of around 300, and that's about 6 inches on my rod here. And so what I've done is dug down there to kind of get an idea what that might be. Because you can have, plow pan would be common at 6 inches. Clay pans could also be common there. Had we not had 6 inches in the last 2 weeks here, we possibly have dry soil. But what we find is an increase in clay content. You see this bed is nice and shiny, whereas this one's kind of dull. It's got sparkling sand grains in it, but the surface isn't shiny. Well, from visually, that shiny surface tells me there's more clay in it than what's in the surface. And then when you start to put it between your thumb and finger, you can see it sticks together real readily and starts to kind of shine. And it's more the feel than the look, but that look is what you can see there on TV. And so what we know is they're about 6 inches. We may have a plow pan there because this is cultivated cropland, but we also certainly have an increase in clay that has got something to do with that penetration resistance. So then the question becomes, do we want to try to physically remove that compaction? On a heavy clay soil or subsoil like that, it's going to cost you a lot of money to run a deep ripper through it. And so I would probably say no. I'd let nature take its course, and throughout the summer this soil will shrink and expand and break apart and probably do just as well as running some kind of heavy equipment through here.
Okay. And for wheat farmers, you can kind of do, and canola, I'm sure, kind of do this after harvest as well?
Yeah, in fact, the nice thing about wheat and canola is as they dry down or senesce, they're going to slow down their water use, and so you're going to continue to accumulate more water if you're not already full in that profile. So from now until after harvest, your soil should be in pretty good shape to take penetration resistance readings and dig some holes. And if you find resistance, dig some holes and see what's down there. Look again for horizontal structure, which I didn't see in this location. And then just as importantly is horizontal root growth, or an abrupt change in the density of roots within your profile indicates some compaction issues. and then you need to decide whether you want to live with them or try to alter that field that come this summer with deep tillage or cover crop management or something like that, depending on your system.
Okay, Jason Warren, good information.
Yep,
Thanks a lot.